Hey, welcome back. I'm Jeff Hyman, and this is the 7-day email course on Recruiting Rockstars, but this is day 8. I don't know. I decided to include a little bonus for you because you've invested this time, and I really appreciate it. We've made the offer, and it was accepted, and we should celebrate. A couple things. First of all, you got to keep this person in the boat. They're vulnerable. From the time they sign the offer letter, they need to give notice. They're probably going to get a counter offer they have to turn down. They've got 2, 3, 4 weeks on the beach to think about or maybe reconsider. They're going to tell their friends and former coworkers about the job, and that immediately puts them in play. That means they're at risk. They could get stolen away, and you and I both know that candidates, even rock stars, renege on offer acceptances. It's hard to believe that it happens in this day and age, but it does. So we've got to do everything we can to keep the person in the boat. So how do we do that? Send flowers. Talk to the person every couple days. Start sending them some pre-reading or a thank you gift. Send them tickets to a show. Not pure outright bribery, but let them know that they've made the right decision. Reinforce it. Have them come into the office and start meeting people and make it personal. Definitely a pre-start date lunch with the hiring manager to talk about not the job, but their career path and their aspirations, and really reinforcing that they've made a great decision. Now they show up for work, and they're on the job, and we're going through this 90-day onboarding plan, and as I mentioned, you now have an 80 or 90% accuracy rate, which means you make a hiring mistake 10 to 20% of the time. It's time for the we need to have a talk conversation. Now, I hate this as much as you do. It's probably the worst part of business, other than group mass layoffs, is letting someone know that they're not performing or that they're not a culture fit and that it's time to depart the organization. I'm going to give you some suggestions, some best practices for how to do this. And again, it's not a fun part of the job, but it's your responsibility. If you're going to be in the recruiting business, you're going to be in, unfortunately, the awkward discussion business. It's important to make a prompt decision. I'm sure that you've had poor performers or low performers on your staff before, and every time you part ways with them, what's the first thing that happens? You say to yourself, oh, why didn't I do that sooner? You know that you've made the right decision because our gut tells us this person is not performing. The second thing that happens is everyone in the organization says to you, nice job. What were you waiting for? What took you so long? So not only are you putting yourself through pain and agony and trying to make this decision when you already know the decision. And not only are you putting the candidate through pain and agony because they're suffering and they're flailing and they probably know it, but you're also putting your entire organization through the ringer because they also are dealing with this individual that's not performing. And to have a high performance culture, everyone must deliver. So make the decision promptly. That's not going to be the first day or two, but it's not going to take 90 days either. I encourage you to work with your HR professional to think about and talk about how to document and how to set expectations. But in general, it's going to be sooner versus later. When it does come time to part ways, you're going to do so respectfully. Now, if they have stolen from the company or they've abused the staff, of course you're going to kick them out and make it known that you kicked them out. But in the vast majority of cases where the person gave their best effort and just couldn't deliver or was not a culture fit, you're going to part ways with them in a respectful way. And the reason is they are out there and people are going to ask them what it was like to work at your company, even if they only worked at your company for a month. And for them to tell people that you were a horrible manager, that you set the wrong expectations and then kick them out on their ass, it's going to come back to haunt you in the recruiting process that we've just spent the past week fixing. Instead, do so respectfully. Everyone in the organization knows that this person is not delivering. They know when you're going to part ways with them, and they're watching to see how you do it because they worry. They want to know that, God forbid, they not deliver, that they're going to be treated respectfully. There's no reason to ever humiliate or publicly humiliate an individual. It's not going to do any good. It's not going to change their performance. And for the survivors, people that stay in the organization, it's going to cause long-term damage to your trust and credibility. Go for a walk with the individual. And I always start by asking questions, rather than just come out and say, we need to have a talk, or I have some bad news for you. I actually ask questions, and I start by asking, how do you think things are going? What's been your experience? Tell me about your observations so far on how you think you're doing. And then I'll shut up and I let them talk. And surprisingly, They will frequently explain that they're struggling, why they're struggling. There's a small chance that it may change your mind, but usually it won't. But at least you understand that they're also feeling the pain. And you can almost gain agreement that this is not a fit, either from a culture fit standpoint or the job fit standpoint. So I start by asking questions, and I do that not in a crowded restaurant, not in my office. I actually get outside and take a walk with the individual. We're trying to part ways on as good a basis as possible. Now, this isn't always possible. I understand that, and you know that too, and you would know that I was disingenuous if I told you otherwise, but if you can do this most of the time, when a person leaves the organization, give them an extra week, give them an extra 2 weeks to begin their search. As long as they fulfill their responsibilities, it will come back to you in spades later.